Hello, I'm Bood and welcome to episode 22 of Rebuilding Coventry City. As always, thanks for joining me. I really do appreciate it. While you're here, why not smash the like button? If you're brand new, thanks for checking out this video. Hopefully by the end of it, you'll be a subscriber. And as always, yeah, thanks for taking the time out of your busy day to sit here and listen to me chat. So, you might be a little confused and be thinking, where's the last 10 episodes gone? Well, we've jumped into the future. Yes, we've gone into the time machine and we've jumped 10 years into the future to episode 22. I love this series. It's been an absolute pleasure to play. I've put my heart and soul into it. I've put many hours of my isolation into it, and I've had some great senses of achievement. But all good things come to an end. You don't want to milk something to death. Think Faulty Towers or the English Office. You know, things like that. Series that end early on a high. Think that. So, yeah, it's ending. This is it. So I thought, let's jump forward. Now, I loved it. I've took this team from League One into the Championship, into the Premier League eventually, and it was quite a slow rebuild. Getting the foundations set, getting up the league, mid-table positions, itching into Europe, and then eventually we became a top side. And last season, I just don't think I could top it. I won everything. Apart from the FA Cup, which I got to the final and lost on penalties. I can't top that. You're downhill from here. But is it? It's a tiny club competing with the big boys for money, for commercial income, for sponsorship. Once I leave, will the ship sink? Or can Coventry keep riding that wave over the next decade? Well, we're going to find out. I don't know anything. I've just holidayed 10 years into the future, so I was excited to see. I'm also very worried that my little blue baby has been ruined. So yeah, smash the like button and let's find out together, eh? Welcome to the 1st of June 2041, and this is a little bit of information on my homepage. I haven't had a job, obviously, for the past 10 years. After a great career with Coventry, I've had a long break. I'm excited. I'm also really nervous. Chelsea job's up for grabs. Some big jobs there, aren't they? Up for grabs. Look at Barca and Real Madrid. Blimey. Bayern Munich. So I'm dead nervous. If they've been relegated, I'm not going to be happy. So let's have a look at that manager history, and I feel okay a little bit about it, ish. Obviously, Mark Robbins was in the job. He left his role, and I took his job all the way back at the end of June in 2019. And I was there for nearly 12 years. Let's call it 12 years. This is Derek Adams, and he's decent, but he had big shoes to fill. I want to put him in my job. I think they made a mistake. Even though he was successful, was he riding my team? It was young, wasn't it? If he kept most of it together, he would have been fine. Since then, he's been Chelsea manager, Norwich manager, West Ham manager, now he's West Brom manager. So yeah, great. But then they replaced him with a big name that won a league, another Premier League, which I'm buzzing with, 4 cups. And he's a top manager, and he's retired. So I bet they were disappointed with that because they finally got their hands on a big name. But then for the last, almost 4 years, they've had a guy called Michael Invasini, who has won a league and 5 cups. So over the past 10 years, they've won 3 league titles, which is not bad. That's better than getting relegated. So they've still been competing in the Premier League and winning cups. They've won a lot of cups. 14 cups in 10 years. That's a lot. He's also a regen, although he is a very good regen. A regen who started life in 2027 as manager of Milan, then Dortmund, then Juventus, and now he's capping his career off with the biggest club in the world, Coventry City. Well done, Michael. Carrying on my legacy. I'm very proud of you. So this is Coventry's overview, complete overview. And yeah, really proud of this. So, as we know, I won them 2 Champions Leagues. No one else has ever won one of them. They have won the Club Cup, the World Club Cup twice now. That's every 4 years, don't forget. So when I first won the Champions League, it just happened to be the following summer was the World Championships, and we won that. And then obviously I won the Champions League 2 years later, so we would have been back in that tournament when it came back around. So I'm guessing it might have been Derek Adams that won that. A couple of Super Cups. They've now won 8 FA Cups, 5 Carabao Cups. I was very bad at winning that. I only won 1. 5 Premier League titles. I mean, that is a trophy cabinet you'd just be proud of, and I'm just really chuffed because I've done this before where I've built a team up on a personal save, in other things where you build a team up and you know it's because of you knowing the game that the club is punching above its weight, and then once you do leave, you stop doing the things you do and the computer AI takes over, it goes to shit really. But it hasn't, has it? They've managed to compete, and I think one of them reasons was, don't forget, we were in the process before I left of building a new stadium. I think it was going to be built in 33. So what did I leave? I left in 31, and it was going to be 2 years till it was finished planning and building. So they've got a brand new super stadium. But who did they name it after? They named it the Bood FM Arena. 54,000 seater. Oh, it didn't finally got built in 34. Jesus Christ. That took a long time to plan and build. But I bet it's worth it, eh? It is a beautiful place. Forget the Rico Arena. This is a state of the art, this one. This is the pitch can roll out. They can roll an NFL pitch in if they want to have NFL games. Do whatever they want. It's amazing. Honestly, well chuffed with that. Proper chuffed. So yeah, they got the Bood FM Arena, 54,000 seater. The club owns it, which is fantastic. Still got state of the art training facilities. So all that hard work I put into the facilities are still at the absolute top level. 6-year sponsorship deal worth 12 million. Definitely improved and managed to stay up there. Now I think early on in the save we had a board takeover. One of the directors, I think, took over the club. We didn't have any money, and that was in our early days. It might have even happened when we were still in the championship, I think, from memory. So I was always quite gutted. I thought we're never going to have a tycoon takeover. No, they haven't had a tycoon takeover. But in 2033 they finally got a new chairman. So Ben Corbett took over heading a consortium the year before, or just before they moved into the new stadium. The chairman is it Simon Corney? He did mention, I think there was rumours at some point, maybe like year 10, year 11, that he might sell, but it never came true. But I'm happy about that because he was alright. I'm just hoping that new chairman's took him onto that extra level. This is the history of the Premier League. That's what I look at stuff. So obviously, there's my first title, won in 29, then I won it in 31, and then I retired. So the next year they didn't get in the top 3, but then they bounced back. United won it for 2 years, and Coventry came back in 36, and then obviously they won it in 40. But they've been there and there about top 3, top 2 for many years, and that honestly makes me so happy. Like, I was worried. So obviously my last season I lost the FA Cup, and they actually lost it 2 years ago to Man City. Although they beat Man City this year in the final. It's been a Coventry Man City fest really, hasn't it? I mean, you've got Coventry in 33, then Chelsea, but now it's Coventry, City, Coventry. Just dominating the FA Cup. And I beat City in the Carabao Cup just before I resigned. The following year, it was Coventry City again. That's pretty cool. And 3 years ago, it was Coventry City again. But they won 3 Carabao Cups back to back. I mean, until that last year and I finally won it, I was atrocious in it, but I didn't take it serious, and I think that really helped the club grow. We didn't waste game time and risk of injury in the Carabao Cup. I'd B-team it and then concentrate on the league. Now, one thing I'm disappointed about is the Champions League, because it is the ultimate for any club in Europe. And in my last 3 years at the club, we got to 3 finals on a run. Obviously beat Atletico Madrid, then we got beat off Inter Milan, and then we beat Atletico Madrid in my last season. And they've never been back to a final since, which, you know, it is a bit disappointing, especially because they've let Manchester City win 2 on the run. So that is a bit gutting. So I'm not going to care about the other European Cups. I just want to know, I left this club as the third biggest team in the world. Where are they now? They are the 5th biggest team. I mean, when I left, like I said, we'd played in 3 European Cup finals on the bounce, and they haven't been back to one. Even though they've still won, they've won couples of. They've been good domestically, especially with the cups. It's probably that European level where they're lacking, but they've still got a good manager and they still look like they're competing. So I'm sure one would come one day. One thing I would have loved is to have one of my players win a Ballon d'Or. They never did, and they never have since I've left. And they've never even had a Coventry player in the top 3, which is a little sad because they're still a big team in my eyes now. Who's this guy who keeps winning? 32-year-old. Duarte, so good they named him twice. Looks pretty good. I bet he used to be a bit better though. Looks like he's coming to the end of his peak. But yeah, how many Ballon d'Ors? 3 on the bounce. And then 2 more. Cheeky. So yeah, gutted about that. So here we are on the home page, and I do like them kits, you know. I'd actually have a Coventry kit. And one thing I always liked playing it, one of the things, I don't think I ever mentioned this, because obviously I watch my games in 3D. Everything in 3D, I don't touch 2D. I always felt sometimes watching them, because they're so small, they look like Argentina. And I always felt like when we were on full flow and kicking people's asses, I always felt like we were Argentina. I don't know why. But yeah, this is our full, you got the full thing here, haven't you? Which is quite cool. So yeah, I started in League 1. We got in the Championship, finished 12th. Then we got 4th. And then we won it. Do you know what I mean? So that was slow, wasn't it? It took time. This hasn't been a boom, 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 Premier League, let's start winning titles. Then we got 15th in the Prem. 10th. 6th. I dropped out of 7th that year, but was that the first year I won an FA Cup maybe? I think it was, you know. I think it was. Then the following year, once we got in that top 3-4, there was no real turning back, and then the team had started to flow. Plus we'd lost Holcroft, remember, for 90 million, and that really saddened me at the time, but giving the money to put into the team, and obviously you've got to start scouting, you've got to scout, get a list together. And then obviously we won it, came 3rd, won it. So that's my career there. So I was only ever at the top really for 4 years in the top 4. Wow. I forgot, you know, I thought I came up into the Championship. It's been that long ago. I thought I didn't get promoted and I got promoted that year. But no, it was an extra year, wasn't it? It is what it is, but fair enough. Also though, while I've been talking, have you noticed the captain? One of my lads. The vice captain and key player, one of my lads. Who's the hot prospect though? Well, I won't call him that hot. I think he's got an amazing name. He's only 15 to be fair. But the captain and vice captain are my boys. Who else is still here? Well, and this is the squad, and I've arranged it by age because they're going to be old now, aren't they? And the second player is Michael Mack, the young Czech lad who came through our academy. He's never played for anyone else apart from when I sent him to Tranmere. He did go out on loan for a bit, fair enough. Learn his trade, man. Now, he was never a world beater, but when he played for us, he played really, really well. That's why I kept him and sold other players like Armstrong and so on. Because this kid just played for the club, loved the club. So his entire career at the club. Next on the list is Tito, who's now 33. He's one of my last big signings. Defensive midfielder, Ecuadorian, and he was an absolute beast. And to be fair to him, he still is a beast. You know, I only signed young players, so with this in mind, because I personally always played long-term saves, so I like to have a young team, and if I stay there forever, I'll eventually like to see him grow into superstars, and he definitely did. And the fact he stayed at the club all this time, I think it's pretty special. Isaac Amoa is still here, 32, still only 32. Bloody hell, I felt like I had him for years and years and years. I just felt like I did, because he came in as a kid from France. I think I got him cheap, didn't I have a minimum fee? And he ended up, I had to make that decision that summer, Terry Cox or Isaac Amoa. And Isaac Amoa, I give him the chance, and he didn't let me down that last year. He definitely didn't let me down, and he's still here. Crazy. He's only worth 325 grand now though. Ashraf Saleh, he's still here. Now he is still amazing. He's 32. He was my last big buy from Valencia. Finally got that major piece. I think he was an integral part of that last team of mine to just dominate the world. Apart from the FA Cup, which we lost on penalties to Manchester United, so that's okay. But yeah, he was awesome. So he was the kind of player though I thought, once I've gone, he might stay a year or two, and then he'll be off to Real Madrid or Paris Saint-Germain because he was so young and so good. But the legendary midfielder is still a Coventry player and still worth a lot of money. Kasongo, the young wonder kid goalkeeper, they're very rare. I find they're very hard to find. And again, I had to make a decision, didn't I? He was still a kid when we got him, and I felt like we needed a good goalkeeper. We'd had Scott Marshall for years as Scotland's #1, but he wasn't average. He was good, wasn't he? I needed a world-class goalkeeper, and Liverpool decided to move on from Alisson, who was 36, I think, at the time. I had to spend 15 million on him. We did only get a season out of him, but what a season. It was that first season we won the Premier League and the Champions League, and it was amazing. But then his second season, he dropped off a bit and he got a few injuries. And I started playing Kasongo, who on paper didn't look ready. And then I just played him. And then the following year, Alisson resigned in my last season. I thought, do I get another old experienced keeper or do I stick with him? And I gave him the full season in my last year. And he didn't let me down. So that is it. They're the only players left here from my era. Staff-wise, I'm not going to check the staff because there was a mass exodus when I left. Assistant Johnny Morris, a lot of the guys left. So I just want to have a look at some of the actual top-class players they've got now, new boys. And then we're going to try and have a look at some of the old legends. So this is apparently their highest value player is 29-year-old Croatian Mislav Terzic. He looks okay. He doesn't excite me. They've got a winger, a 25-year-old German called Fabian Brandner, who is pretty good. I mean, his physicals are out of this world. His technicals need some work. One of their main strikers, and the last player we're going to look at, because, you know, they're just regens really, is Benjamin Vernier, 28-year-old Frenchman. Not played for his country too much, got good mentals, but he's good, isn't he? I mean, they've got good players, and I've looked at a few of them. They're all very good players, and I just feel like they need that little bit of extra quality to start maybe winning a European Cup. So this is the best ever 11. And what I love about it is my old wingers Sommer and Heyer are still on the team. And Moa, Terzic, he isn't one of mine, but Salah is, and so is Tito. The back four is Mac Pineda, who was a very good integral part and he's becoming elite. Remember, I spent big on him from Manchester City. Shelby Johnson at right back, Delaney at left back, has to be. The fact that they're still the main men is brilliant. So Shelby Johnson is now retired. He retired at 35 and he retired, what, 2 or 3 years ago. Finished his career out in Ajax. Didn't play much. That's quite sad. He should have finished his career at Coventry. Look how many games he played. Delaney has just retired at 35. Fantastic player. He was a wing back. I had to retrain his position to become a full back. Took him about 6 months, and he just excelled and became an absolute. I knew he was a good player. I didn't think he'd become as good as he did. He was fantastic. He too didn't finish his career at Coventry after a long career there. He managed to squeeze out a few more years at AC Milan. Pineda has retired the previous season. He's at 36 years old. He made a big move a couple of years ago to Paris Saint-Germain. Didn't really play much for them either, to be fair. Coming to the end of his career though, wasn't he? Peter Heyer. I struggled once we got in the Premier League finding quality wingers, and at first I got one from Denmark and maybe one from Holland who I thought had a lot of potential. Their potential didn't come from anywhere, did it? And in the end I had to spend big. And it's like, you've got to do this step by step. You know, you can't buy a world-class player in every position. I had to work it, didn't I? Get a good midfielder, and the next year I might get a centre-half, then the year after I got wingers and I get a striker. And it's like a slow thing you've got to do, but if you love the game, you've got patience, you can do it. And when we signed Heyer, he had big hopes, but I think he got injured the first year and it took him time to learn the language and settle in. But then in the last couple of years, he really started to show me what a player he was. Now Sommer was an absolute beast. If you remember how good he was special. He was a very good player. What's sad is he didn't stay there for, well, he put 10 years into Coventry, which is great. Ish. And he's gone to Juventus, and then he's gone to Al Sadd in Qatar, so he really stretched out his career. Retired last season, but what a player he was. And then last but not least, I've got to look at Terry Cox, because he was a fantastic player. He's still a player, but he was a fantastic player and I really liked him. And on paper he was amazing, although he never played for England. Which amazed me because he was good. I think the thing was though, he'd have one season where he'd bag 20 odd goals, the next year he'd score 10, and then he'd score 20 odd, the next year he'd score 10. So this is my last transfer year, and you can see we spent big, but we also cashed in on quite a lot of players. Got rid of some deadwood, including Terry Cox. Over the last few years, let's have a quick look. We don't need to look at the players, let's look at the money. So they spent 153 the following year, but cashed in 189 million. Who'd they sell? Marcus Miller, do you remember him? He instantly left. He was always going to be a tough one to keep because he was special. Put more time and years into Real Madrid than Coventry. What a player though. He was outstanding. Like a superstar. Following year, they've not spent a lot, but they're still cashing in. Selling off players. George Mendoka. Who the hell's George Mendoka? So he came in after I left. Just after I left. That's why I don't know him. Ooh, next year they start to spend big. Start to try and win titles again. The following year, not much going on. I'm just looking for big signings that have left. Maybe, you know, like a Marcus Miller. I can't believe I forgot about Marcus. How has Marcus not made that all-time 11? Because he was with me for a few years and he was absolutely like out of this world. I think I got him from Wolves. And he was finally like a replacement for Holcroft, who I'm going to check out actually. I'd love to see what happens to Holcroft because we got him from Derby and I think we got him for like 15 million and ended up selling him for 90. I didn't want to sell him, but we ended up selling him for 90 million and I was gutted. But it did help kick us on a bit. But I always felt like once he went to City, we kind of went past City and he would have been better off staying with us. He should have turned that deal down. Well, Tom Holcroft plays one of my favourite teams. A team I did a series with called Bood in the Hood back in FM17. My wife's from Huddersfield, so I wanted to honour her team. And yeah, he's 36 years old. He played for PSG, Tottenham. Really? As you know, I play mainly nowadays on this game with a 4-1 pretty much. And this guy in a minute, he's got 3 at the back with wing backs, 3 up top. Quite a cool formation to be fair. I'd love to be able to design something like that, but it's just not my style yet. A quick look at England just in case you're interested, because Joe Hart is the manager. Let's hope that never happens. But Coventry is the second biggest team around the country after City, but City's definitely helped themselves out by winning back-to-back Champions Leagues. We've just got no Coventry players in the top players in the country, which is a sad thing. But the fact that I thought they'd probably crumble completely eventually, especially over 10 years, and the fact that they're still where they are, they're still competing at a top level. Yeah, I feel like all that hard work I've put in, because I've put hours into this, it hasn't been wasted. Now, I didn't show you all the new regens at Coventry, but this is the only Coventry player in the England squad, and he's another striker, Mason Naylor. Again, I think he's come from the academy. He'd been loaned out to Dundee United at some point to learn his trade, and now he's playing in the main team. And, you know, he ain't a finisher. He's a different kind of striker, isn't he? Got some good skills. Well, there we go. That is the end of episode 22 and the end of rebuilding Coventry. I know a lot of you probably would have kept on watching it, but you need that passion to play, and it takes a lot to put into a full season of Football Manager, you probably know yourself. And I just really need that new challenge, and I've come up with a new challenge, and I have a brand new rebuild. Again, maybe a longer rebuild with a club that needs a lot of work, but I'm very excited. It's a new country and definitely a new challenge, so hopefully you'll support that new rebuild as much as you supported this. Keep your eyes out on the channel. There'll be a few more stories over the next few weeks, and definitely we'll be carrying on the Journeyman for the foreseeable future. But I just want to say a big thank you to a big group of you who have stuck with this. It started off as a personal save that I decided to bring to YouTube after the first season because I liked it so much, and I thought I might do 6 episodes instead of 3 that I normally do on a rebuild, and it ended up being, well, technically 13, which is insane. So I never thought it'd be this successful for me as on my little channel, but it has been, and that's all down to you. So massive thank you. If you did enjoy the series, give it one final thumbs up, and I hope you're all happy, and I hope you're all safe in these troubling times. This has really helped me get through a lot of the hours of boredom in isolation, so hopefully it's helped you too. So yeah, take care. So for me and my family, I'll see you next time. I'm Bood. Bye bye.